Yeah, hi, I'm here with Al Morris at the Zeitgeist Festival, and Al, tell us a bit about your book.
Well, the book Civilisation Hijacked is designed to show the urgent need for a paradigm shift from the value system that has brought us to this state of economic downturn and turmoil in the world to something sustainable. The vision and worldview that most of the so-called civilised world has been manufactured by the controllers of the people in religious, commercial and corporate areas to suit their own agendas. The controllers in these areas have blurred our vision, used the power that they have over the media, the numbers and dumbers of our society, to turn us into just mindless robots that will accept any crap that is put over.
Now, this is actually an interesting point, because this has always intrigued me as to whether it is an orchestrated attack on civilization, or if it's just the result of a confederacy of greed and selfishness. What are your views on that?
Well, it is a confederacy of greed and selfishness. It's a group or groups of people. It's not a whole conspiracy theory as such, that the people in power use their symbiotic existence that feed on the opportunities that are given by one or the other.
So a confederacy of parasites.
A confederacy of parasites, true, and who control the actions of the so-called civilised world in such a manner that they have us fighting between ourselves. The religious groups, the cultural differences are exacerbated by these people to keep us apart. And this book is designed to break down those barriers, to bring us together. The collective spirit of humanity is the tool that must be used to overcome the problems that beset us because of these controllers.
And is this the first book you've written?
It is the first book I've written, and I hope that the next book I write will be the result of this. This is Civilisation Hijacked, and to bring about a more perfect or more sustainable world in which we are living to promote the common good rather than selfish greed.
And what do you think are the key points for humans in particular, individuals, that can sort of lead to a fairer world?
Well, for a start, the economic system under which we labour today is designed primarily to funnel all the wealth of our monetary system and our resources into the pockets of a very few people. And if we could get a sustainable resource-based economy, which incidentally was implemented in Australia in 1912 actually. The Commonwealth Bank of Australia was started as a public bank, a resource-based bank. And in the First World War, between 1914 and 1918, the Commonwealth Bank actually paid for the expenses of the First World War at a fraction of 1% interest, saving our Commonwealth approximately $12 million in the meantime by using credit money rather than debit money.
Yeah.
The Commonwealth Bank issued the bonds to conduct that war.
And how do you think they've got away with this monetary system for so long, when it's, especially the last sort of 30 and 40 years, when it's obviously become so fraudulent How do you feel that they've actually achieved this? I mean, to me, I used to look at them, as I said before, as a confederacy of parasites and creeps, but now I'm looking at them as geniuses because they've succeeded.
Yeah, well, actually, it all started, the fractional reserve banking is the secret of the banking system that we have today. Now, the Federal Reserve Bank in America, was implemented by Woodrow Wilson in 1913. He was put into power by the banks, a consortium of 12 banks that backed him for president. Now, when their man got in, of course, he's going to give them a reward, which was to establish the Fed, the American Federal Reserve, which issues money at a reserve of 1/10 of what they lend out. If you put $1 million in the bank, they will lend out $9 million and keep that in reserve. And that, if they give you 5% on your million, they'll lend it out at 4 or 5% 9 times, which is 45%.
Great business.
A great business, yeah. It's a license to print money. Actually, it's counterfeit money, but it's legalised counterfeit because they are the only legal body that is allowed to print money and issue it on interest profit basis.
So how, at the end of the day, how do you think that they keep getting away with it? That's how, you look at sort of some, I remember reading an interview, and I can't even remember, it was with Buffett or Warren Buffett or one of these guys, and they said, what's the greatest invention in your lifetime or that you've ever known about? And he said, compound interest.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at it, it's like, well, it's obvious, like, if the rich can only get richer, the poor can only get poorer. And I've always wondered, how has there not been some revolution in regards to the currency systems of our world, the monetary system?
Well, they use weapons of mass distraction, like the religious communities, the cultural differences between Judaism, Christianity and Islam, to keep us fighting amongst ourselves, and we don't lift our eyes to see the big picture. The big picture is that they're up top manipulating everybody, but my book is designed and actually names and shames the people who are behind it, and it tells exactly how it is achieved.
Well, that's great news, because we want names and we want naming and shaming. That's part of our website, is basically we're sick of people hiding behind corporations and people railing against Monsanto. We don't care about Monsanto. We want to know who the board of directors are, who's making the decisions to where the money goes in those companies.
That's right. The thing is that as individuals, none of us are going to shoot or mug people. But what happens, we are shareholders in a company, and that conscience that we have as individuals is shelved onto the board in the boardroom. The boardroom decides what's going to happen in a corporation, and our conscience is clear as long as the decision is made by the board, and we can stand back and dissociate our personal conscience.
Well, boardrooms by nature are anti-community, because their only responsibility is to their own shareholders and profit. So by their own nature, they are psychotic. And that's to me, this is obvious to yourself and myself, but I'm wondering why it isn't obvious to more people, and more people aren't doing anything about it.
Well, most people don't recognise the fact that we all personally have a spirit. You recognise your spirit, I recognise the spirit in me. And the greatest weapon that humanity has is the collective consciousness that we are all spiritually one being. Now, if we can act as one, we've got the game sewn up. But we're kept separate by the media, keeping us fighting amongst ourselves.
And just on a last note, who are the individuals or authors or people that have influenced you in your journey to this point?
Well, there are quite a few mostly Americans on the, well, to name a few, Rumsfeld and Wolfowitz, and there are 4 or 5 different people, and about 10 or 15 years ago they formed what is called as the PNAC, the Project for American Supremacy Century, and they wrote the rules to make America the supreme ruler of the world. That's why America is now the world's policeman. The CIA is their agent. It goes into a country and stirs up problems. They don't even have to send soldiers anymore. They just stir up the local population, arm them, and give them an air force, and they can do what they like.
One of the most exciting moments of the Iraq War for me was when they nearly got Wolfowitz, and just his face at the news conference was enough. I mean, the bomb missed him by a floor, and but to me that was the most exciting moment of the Iraq War, watching him being ushered out of that hotel that he'd nearly been blown apart in. And I thought, well, there's one of the architects that's nearly come undone with his own handiwork. But okay, on a positive note then, who are the people that have inspired you in terms of their message? You know, people that you would recommend other humans to read and look at their works.
Well, look, I describe myself as a Christian atheist, and the first zeitgeist personality I can give as an example was Jesus. Jesus was zeitgeist. He was the spirit of the day, and he showed us the way: love, compassion and forgiveness. And if we can all practice those 3 basic tenets and recognise that we're all one, we've got it made. However, Christianity was taken over by the Emperor Constantine, who was a worshipper of the sun. And most of the rituals in Christianity are pagan rituals. Jesus wasn't born on the 25th of December. The summer solstice.
And the winter solstice in...
that's right. Yeah. And Jesus was a revolutionary. And they cut him down very quickly because he was an enemy of both Zionism and the Roman Empire.
They're definitely the 2 empires not to get on the wrong side of.
That's right.
All right, great. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll read your book, and hopefully we'll see you for your second book pretty soon.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, mate. Thanks very much. Cheers.